before. It is the 21st century. Israel is embroiled in a violent, protracted conflict against Palestine and a coalition of Arab nations. Sirens wail relentlessly. Drones hum over cities and desperate prayers mingle with the roar of missiles. The whole world holds its breath. The world powers convene again and again, powerless to end the chaos. And it is then, in the very midst of this turmoil, as all hope seems to fade, that something astonishing and deeply unsettling is about to unfold. It is a moonless night. The clouds, dense and tempestuous, coil over the city as if concealing unseen presences. Lightning tears across the sky, yet not a single drop of rain falls. In an elegant yet unassuming house in the ultra-Orthodox neighborhood of Mea Shirim, Miriam Ebat struggles through her contractions, aided by an elderly midwife with hands that are trembling, but wise. Her husband, Zevad ben Nur, a deeply respected rabbi and a direct descendant of the tribe of Judah, prays with an intense fervor. He recites psalms with such passion, it seems he is trying to tear the very veil between heaven and earth. And it is there, in this sacred haunting setting, that Miriam Ebat brings her son into the world, a child who doesn't cry upon birth. Instead, he opens his eyes. Those present are frozen in place. They have never seen such a gaze, so sweet and yet so ancient, so serene, so deeply captivating. His beauty is breathtaking. His face seems sculpted by the very hand of the heavens. An inexplicable calm fills the room when you look at him. The child's name is Adiel, a Hebrew name meaning God is just. Social media doesn't mention this, nor do the newspapers. His birth goes unnoticed. But in the spiritual world, this night marks the beginning of the greatest deception humanity will ever know. Because this child, born into a Torah-fearing family, amidst the ashes of an endless war, is not destined to be a savior, but a usurper. Adiel grew up surrounded by profound wisdom. Before the age of 10, he had already mastered Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, English, Spanish, Arabic, and a wide variety of other languages. From a very young age, he fervently dedicated himself to studying the Talmud, the Kabbalistic texts, and the ancient discourses of the prophets of Israel. He is taught by the most prominent scholars of contemporary Judaism and carefully protected by elite circles who consider him an unprecedented prodigy. From his teenage years, Adiel inspires admiration wherever he goes. His intelligence seems superhuman. His charisma has an almost hypnotic effect, and he possesses a strange and powerful ability to reconcile people with completely opposing ideologies. His mere presence unites the irreconcilable. No one can explain how he does it. They only know that in his presence, a deep admiration emerges that is hard to ignore. Every Sabbath, his parents devotedly take him to the Wailing Wall. They present him as a model of purity, a young man devoted to the Torah. The elders of the modern Sanhedrin look upon him with solemn respect, as if sensing a sacred spark within him. When he turns 13 years old and celebrates his bar mitzvah, he stands to read from the Torah before the congregation. His words are so deeply moving and heartfelt that they bring even the most hardened hearts to tears. But as he was reading, it's happening. Thunder shakes the heavens, even though the sky is completely clear. Some interpret this as a celestial sign, a gesture of divine approval. But no one understands it's not a blessing, but a warning, an echo of the judgment to come. And so the days pass. Meanwhile, the conflict between Israel and the Arab nations intensifies with uncontrollable fury. Tensions are constant, the borders are in flames, and diplomacy seems dead. Amidst this hostile climate, the most influential rabbis of Jerusalem raise their voices in an outcry. They demand the construction of the long-awaited Third Temple. With deep conviction and tears in their eyes, they attempt to enter the Temple Mount, the sacred site where the first two temples of Solomon and Zerubbabel once stood. But the response from the Muslim world is immediate and violent. Massive revolts erupt. The holy mountain once again becomes a battlefield, a symbol of a war that is not just political, but also spiritual. It is then that Adiel, contemplating the chaos and bloodshed, secretly says to himself, "I will be the one to build the third temple. I will bring peace." And with this thought burning like a fire within him, he begins to plan his ascent. His first step was joining the Israeli army. He served there for several years, quickly distinguishing himself with his strategic genius, his combat composure, and his innate charisma. He is admired by his superiors and his soldiers alike. He is decorated several times, and his name begins to echo beyond the barracks, crossing the army's borders and reaching the spheres of power. Adiel's popularity, carefully cultivated over the years, opens the doors to the national political scene for him. At 30 years old, he becomes the youngest member of the Israeli political establishment. He has not yet led the nation, but he moves easily among the most influential figures in power, like a fish in water. Everyone looks upon him with respect, but in the spiritual realm, an event is about to shake the world and change the course of history forever. Always. The rapture of the church. In the blink of an eye, millions of faithful Christians disappear from the face of the earth. Entire families are torn apart. Planes fall from the sky. Cars go out of control. Offices and schools are empty. The world is plunging into unprecedented chaos. Despair grips the streets. Science has no explanation. Governments remain silent. The media is speculating, but nobody knows what happened. It's as if a divine veil has been torn and humanity has been left behind. Israel, which until now has managed to hold out despite the conflict, is being hit hard. Uncertainty grips its people. Rabbis seek answers. Politicians debate aimlessly. The people demand direction, but no single voice can calm the storm. It is in this context of confusion and anguish that Jell emerges in all its splendor. With his usual charisma and an eloquence that seems almost supernatural, he addresses the nation with words of peace, hope, and reconstruction. His captivating and serene message enthralled the Jewish people. In just a few days, and with no other alternative available, he was proclaimed the supreme leader of Israel. The crowd applauds him. The news outlets declare him the man of the hour. But behind that brilliant smile lies the beginning of the great deception. Alongside Adiel, another character emerges, an elderly man with a solemn face and a white beard, a scholar of the Torah, known in rabbinical circles for his mystical knowledge and his ability to stir the crowds. His name, Azarias ben Shaul. In the eyes of the people, he is a spiritual beacon, a revered counselor. But in truth, he is the false prophet, the instrument that prepares the heart of Israel to receive Adiel as the anointed one. Azarias does not hesitate to publicly support Adiel. He presents him as a chosen man, the peacemaker promised by the prophets. Through emotional speeches and subtle manipulations of the scriptures, he begins to persuade the nation that Adiel is God's answer to their difficult times. And so, as soon as Adiel takes leadership, he begins to perform great deeds. His gaze immediately turns to the heart of the nation, the Temple Mount. With cunning and flawless diplomacy, he organizes historic meetings with Arab leaders from neighboring countries. At first, the proposal to cede control of the mount for the reconstruction of the temple is firmly rejected. The site is far too sacred for the Islamic world. The wounds run deep. The conflict seems unsolvable, but Adiel does not waver. He promises peace. He promises stability. He promises a future of shared prosperity. His words are as sweet as honey and his influence irresistible. Arab leaders, under international pressure and the promise of a new regional pact, sign a historic peace agreement with Israel. Is officially authorized to rebuild its temple on the sacred mount. The crowds celebrate, the rabbis dance, the media announces a new golden age, but in the spiritual realm, the trumpets of judgment begin to sound. For what is peace to men, to heaven is but the prelude to the Great Tribulation. Now, with the official approval for the reconstruction of the Third Temple, a scene never before imagined begins to take shape before the eyes of the world. Cameras from every nation focus on Jerusalem. Helicopters fly over the Temple Mount. The tension is palpable and the astonishment inevitable. Great machines, escorted by soldiers and specialized technicians, enter the sacred mountain amidst chants, tears, and meticulous vigilance. The dust rises, the metal groans, and history trembles. And then, the unthinkable happens. Before the astonished eyes of millions, the mosques that have stood on that site for centuries, the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa, are demolished one by one with surgical precision. There is no revolt, there is no war, there is no resistance. As if an invisible hand had silenced all opposition, what for generations was considered impossible now happens in a matter of hours. The world is stunned. World leaders remain silent. Social media explodes. No one can stop him, because no one can. Adil has succeeded. No man in recent history has accomplished such a feat without triggering a global catastrophe. His figure ascends. His name transcends languages and borders. Israel acclaims him. Nations admire him. Even his adversaries respect him. And as the machinery clears the rubble of the past, a new structure begins to take shape. The Third Temple of Jerusalem. Day after day, the foundations are raised as if invisible hands were accelerating the work. Architects and laborers work with an uncommon precision. Everything advances at a speed that defies logic. In just a few months, the structure is complete. Tall, majestic, immaculate. Covered in gold, white stone, and sacred symbols. It is a modern replica of Solomon's temple, rebuilt not just by human hands, but with an ambition that transcended generations. And the day of the inauguration arrives. Crowds pack Jerusalem. The streets rejoice. The rabbis chant psalms with trembling voices. Animals are sacrificed according to an ancient Levitical rite. Incense rises to the heavens. Trumpets sound. All of Israel erupts in celebration. Dancing, tears, there is fire, there is celebration. The eyes of the nation are fixed on Adil. They see him as the living fulfillment of Isaiah, Zechariah, and Ezekiel. They hail him as the promised Messiah. The children bless him, the elderly weep, the women call him Redeemer. A unanimous cry rises from the crowd. The Messiah has arrived. God has restored his temple. And so, under a sky filled with emotion and chants, Adiel is officially proclaimed the Messiah of Israel. The people embrace him without resistance. The media celebrates him. Religious authorities exalt him. And then, in the midst of the ceremony, the figure of Azarias ben Shaul, the elderly rabbi, the revered master, the false prophet, emerges. With a voice trembling but firm, Azarias raises his hand to the crowd and solemnly declares, "This is the true Messiah of Israel." the final fulfillment of all prophecies. Jesus of Nazareth was an impostor. He did not fulfill the scriptures. He was rejected because he should have been. But Adiel is the promise made flesh. A cry of joy echoes through the square. The crowd erupts in applause and tears. Many embrace, others kneel. The rabbis smile at one another, and the Jewish people, in a mixture of joy and vengeance, say to themselves, "We always knew Jesus was a false Messiah. Now the temple has proven to us that we were right. Adiel is the chosen one of God." But the echo of these words, though cloaked in emotion, resonates as blasphemy in the... As Israel celebrates, the world watches in admiration. International leaders, political analysts, the media. They all bow before the man who achieved the impossible, uniting religions, bringing peace to the Middle East, and rebuilding the Temple of Jerusalem.